We saw a lot of talk of division, even a doomsday scenario. Can we take a little bit of hope from this agreement that there might be possibly a resurgence of fresh unity in the EU?
A small measure of hope. Giuseppe Conte had threatened to throw the whole summit into disarray. They held that declaration up for hours last night. We were supposed to be getting it at 7 p.m., not 4:30 a.m. That didn't happen. He didn't go the full Trump, so that's the good news. Emmanuel Macron was clearly instrumental in negotiating that document, and so we can say that there was a European conclusion rather than a failed summit, so that's hopeful as well. But really, we've seen a lot of what's in this text before. One of the prime ministers in the room told me by text message that there is no sense that this new budget can be agreed by the next European elections. They're going to be slow coming up with the agreement on how to fund all of this. There's nothing to say that they won't go ahead with these processing centres outside of the EU. They didn't rule that out in the document. Everything is voluntary, which is what Viktor Orban and what Giuseppe Conte wanted. So there's nothing to say those controlled centres will work inside the EU either. And of course, all of this is hugely expensive, and there are large numbers of people arriving. The only times this has been attempted in the past by Australia, we were dealing with hundreds or the low thousands of boat arrivals. Nothing like what we saw in 2016, not even what we see now, the smaller numbers arriving in 2018.
And we know that after a 5 a.m. finish, well, this morning rather than last night, the leaders have been given a little bit of a lie until 11 a.m. But what can we expect on the agenda today?
Today, it's all about Brexit and the Eurozone. So Brexit has been reduced to a bit of a sideshow in EU discussions. I think the EU likes it that way because they would rather plan their own future, but it's a very bad sign for coming up with a deal in October. We were all promised that this would be the big summit where a deal would be ready or almost ready. That's been booted to the last possible moment in October, which is the final summit where they can reach a deal in order to get it ready for Brexit Day in 2019. So we are headed very close to a cliff edge when it comes to Brexit. And on the Eurozone, we've seen a lot of countries in a backlash against Germany and France and their ideas in that area. So overall, this isn't a good summit for Angela Merkel. She has a few points to cling to. There's a paragraph that says she can take whatever measures are necessary to control the flow of migrants into Germany. But that's not the series of bilateral deals that she wanted. It's not the Queen of Europe approach that she was able to pull off in previous years.
Ryan, thank you very much. Ryan Heath in Brussels.